people talk about the Albert King box, right? Which is right here. But that's not how Albert King actually played it. That's not how he used it. In fact, what people usually think of when they're talking about the Albert King box is actually Stevie Ray Vaughan playing like Albert King box. Because that is exactly how Stevie Ray Vaughan would play. He would use these notes right here in pattern 2 essentially. That's not how Albert King played. Let me show you how he played. Okay, I'm going to switch out guitars here, but I mean, he played a flying V, but I'm just going to use this guitar here because he would down tune it, believe it or not. He would, just like Stevie Ray Vaughan, you know, the Texas blues, tuning down is a great way to get that mean, heavy, deep, amazing tone. But Albert King would actually tune down way further. He would tune down to C sharp, so 3 half steps. He would sometimes just down tune the whole guitar, and sometimes he'd use some of the open tunings as well. This is tuned to standard, but to C sharp. And then the A string is 1 whole step lower than that. So you get this really cool kind of mean sound. And when you just lay your finger there across the bar, kind of like the Keith Richards tuning. So you get that big, beautiful, open sound. The other thing is, as you can see, he plays his guitar left-handed and upside down. You can see there the high strings are on the top of the guitar and the low strings are down here. So he's playing upside down, which is crazy. What I did on this guitar here is I put a high E string on the 6th string here to kind of simulate that Albert King sound here. So when I play right here, instead of pushing up like this, he'll actually be pulling down like this. One of the coolest things about Albert King was he would just play these enormous, amazing bends, and he'd be kind of plucking with his fingers with his thumb to get this like real snappy kind of attack. The famous Albert King lick is this one here. But that's not how he played it. What he would actually do is just do this ridiculous bend where he would bend up 2 whole steps like this. And he would be doing it right here by pulling down like this. So look at this lick here, right? Okay, so what I've done is I've turned it upside down just so you can kind of see. When he's playing upside down, it's really hard to see what he's doing. This song's kind of like he's playing in B in this position here. It's actually G sharp, it's tuned down, but... And what he's doing is he's playing in pattern 1. So he's not using the Albert box, he's playing down here. But what he does is he does a 2 whole step bend, like that. What it's like you're doing is you're playing a pentatonic scale, but instead of walking up the frets, he's staying in one position and then he's bending to those notes. So those are the notes. Each one of those notes has its own kind of characteristic sound. So this first one, when you do that 2 whole step bend, you're bending from the minor third right here. The sound of going from a minor third to the perfect 5th is just such a powerful sound. The next thing that he would do is when he's on that perfect 5th, he would then drop down to the flat 5. And the flat 5 is the blue note. It's the note that has all that tension in it. It's kind of that, it's really at the heart of the blues. So if you bend all the way up and then you come down, it gives you that sound of angst that comes from being from that perfect 5th down to that diminished 5th, that flat 5, you know, and it gives all that tension. And then another bend that he would do is to go from that flat 5 down to the perfect 4th. So the perfect 4th is just a whole step bend. And then if you go a half step above that, you get to that flat 5. You hear the tension there. And then there's this beautiful bend that he does where you're going from the flat 5 to the 4th. So that's that kind of tension and resolve from that diminished kind of note. And then the next one he would do would be a half step bend from the minor third to the major third. So here's the minor third. If you end up a half step, when you do that bend, it has this kind of like attitude to it, like going from the minor to the major. That's an integral part of the sound of blues. So here's a little trick you can do to make it much, much easier. And all you're going to do is you're going to take those notes, which are from pattern 1, and you're going to play it not here in pattern 2 in the Albert box, but actually in pattern 3, and that's where B.B. King would play. If you take these notes here, you can play the same notes right here. It's exactly the same thing. So it's this little shape here. The beauty of this is you can play those exact same licks with those big bends, but it's much easier to play when you're playing it on the second string, because the second string is looser. It's easier to bend on than the first string. The first string's a lot tighter. It's got a lot more tension on it. So you can do that bend, that 2 whole step bend. It's a lot easier to do there. So you can do that famous Albert King lick there. So you can do all those bends there, the double bend, the flat 5, the whole step bend to the perfect 4th, and then the minor third to major third bend, half step bend. So a great little exercise to do is start on the root there. All those cool bends right there. And then that flat 5, and then from the flat 5 to the 4th. So listen to that lick. That's how he's going through all those cool bends there. Now, you might not always want to tune down to C sharp, so let's go back to a normal tuning. So the way Stevie would play that would be he would use the upper extension, this Albert box. And instead of doing those 2 whole step bends, he would bend up a whole step and then just kind of snap back. But if you really want to get the authentic Albert sound, go up to that 3rd pattern here. And even in standard tuning, you can still get those big bends. And then you can mix that in down here with the Stevie. The cool thing about the Stevie box here is when you actually do those whole step bends, you can kind of push your finger over both the 1st and 2nd strings. So you get this amazing kind of dissonant double stop sound. You know, if you use a pick as well. And that's part of the sound there as well, that kind of Stevie developed that sound, you know, where Albert King's bends would be a little bit more pure and clean, whereas Stevie's would be more. Anyway, so there's a look at the amazing Albert King, and you know, you can dive as deep as you want into his playing, but the idea there is you can really express yourself when you can play these really soulful licks and bends just by being able to play the notes of the scale, kind of like a slide, going up the scale by bending up. Alright, I hope you found this helpful. Have fun playing the blues. Let me know who some of your favourite blues players are, and I'd love to hear from you. So give us a like and a subscribe, drop something in the comments, and if you want to hear more from me, you can go to evergladesrhythm.com. It's to have a listen to some of the records I'm working on. And remember, turn it up.